Hi, welcome to the Canoe Polo VR Goalkeeper Simulator project. And then let's first talk about why are we doing this project. So canoe polo is a sport that requires physical strength and also mental resilience. However, in real life, canoe polo players' training was very limited because they need static water and they need teammates to help them to train. And in canoe polo, there are several positions, including the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is the guy who defends the goal with the paddle. You can see over here, this guy over here, he's actually me, and then he's the goalkeeper of the team. And that's actually, even though I know it's a bit far, so you guys will not see it, but I think you can get what I mean. So this project aims at solving this difficulty of canoe polo goalkeepers to train because they need their teammates to shoot, and then they need static water for them to rely on, and then they can train. But we build this into VR so we can train everywhere you want as long as you have a good computer and a set of VR VR 我可以剪掉这一段吗？
先继续，一会儿剪这个。
A set of VR 哎呀怎么说设备 device yeah okay 那我重新说一下最后一句。
好。
As long as you have a good computer and a set of VR device. Okay. Then let's talk about how we actually build the simulator. So first, we build the scenes inside Unity. So we use the Unity's terrain editor with a stylized beach pack from the asset store of Unity, and we first created a very big terrain, and then we used the paint texture function to paint grass and sand onto the terrain. You can see over here, this is sand, this is grass. And then also we used set height to construct several hills around here. And then we used plant trees to plant the trees around the lake. That's very beautiful. And then we also enhanced the details of the beach with the stylized beach pack, like the launch chairs and the boats, the fast motor stuff, you know, like the thing you play on water, yeah. And then we built our models of our paddle, the canoe, and the goal, and also the shooter, and also the water. But inside of it, we didn't build model for the water, but we gave the water its we assigned the water a OK， 我觉得我们可以看这个，重新从这个 building models 开始讲。
行。
OK。我想想。Secondly, we build the models inside the simulator. So inside of the simulator, we have paddle, the canoe, and the goal. So first, we throw several pictures of the paddle, the canoe, and the goal into a AI website called the Cube. And then the Cube AI is very good. It gives us the model of these things just from the picture, and it's very useful. So we get the model of the goal, the paddle, and the boat, but you know they're a bit. The scale is a bit unrealistic. So inside the simulator, we added a scale using like Unity's scale editing function, and make sure that it mimics how these things looks like in real life. And also, we created a ball and then put it with the mesh colliders, and then we also upload a photo of the real canoe polo ball onto the ball, so like it looks like real canoe polo. And then we also add colliders for the goal, the paddle, and the boat. But for them, we used box colliders because we set them the colliders to track the score stat, like to track how many balls were being saved by the paddle or how many balls actually went into the goal. And also we gave the water a new method, and then it starts to behave like real water in real life with floating function and the friction inside of it. Yes, very good. And then let's talk about how the shooters shoot the goal. So inside of the simulator, because we are the goalkeeper, so we put a lot of shooters around the goalkeeper, and inside of the when we actually play the simulator, the shooters will appear one by one, and then they will shoot the ball. Yeah. And we create a script for the shooter. We call that shoot manager, and it controls all the shooter. And then inside of the script, we gave our shooters several methods, including randomized cycling, which after one shooter shoots it, it will disappear, and then another random shooter from the 7 shooters will appear and shoot a goal, and then the cycle just keep on, and then the cycle. Yeah. And then also we have the random and go method. So in the script, we set the shooters, the angles that they are going to change. So it's going to vary between max horizontal and negative max horizontal angle, and max vertical angle and negative max vertical angle. So yeah, so inside of the game, the shooters will actually adjust the place that they shoot. They're not going to aiming at the same direction every time. And also, we have the randomized force method. So we set the minimum force and maximum force inside the script, so the shooters will shoot the balls with different speed, which is very interesting. And also, we put the picture of a canoe polo player who is attempting to throw the ball onto the shooter, so it looks like a real canoe polo player who is actually trying to shoot. Then let's talk about our score calculation. So we also create a script for score calculation called the goal detector, and then we create another one called the paddle detector. So for the goal detector, once the ball hits the collider of the goal, the variable mixed will +1. And for the paddle detector, once the ball triggers the paddle collider, saved will +1. And then we created a UI, like a canvas inside Unity, to keep track of the score of missed and saved. And also, we create another UI inside Unity, which after the game ends, after the player achieved the destined score that he or she is trying to achieve, the game will end, and then the new UI will appear showing well done, and then the ball is saved, the ball is missed. Yes, and then you can click continue to go back to the original UI page, which we'll discuss later. And then let's now discuss the UI design and functions of the very first UI, which is the first thing that you will see when you're inside the simulator. Yeah, you can see that it's quite simple. There's a headed canoe polo goalkeep simulator, and then there's a few directions. Start with pressing one of the mode. We have hard, medium, and easy, and then you can also switch the skybox. And on the right hand side, you can see a goalkeeper who's trying to goalkeep, which indicated the intended purpose of this simulator. Yes. So inside of the UI, we have a panel, which is the whole thing, and then 4 buttons and the text elements. So we have a skybox control button. So we write a method of it, which after you click it, the skybox will change. There's like cloudy, sunset, blue sky, blah blah blah. And also, there's difficulty settings. So inside the UI manager, like the script we wrote for the UI, we set hard, medium, and easy, and then inside of each mode, the speed of the goal and the shooting interval will be different. So, for example, hard mode will have very short interval between each shooter, and the speed of the ball will be very fast. And once you press the hard, medium, and easy, this UI page will disappear, and once you find the UI of the ending UI, and then you press continue, the page will reappear. So finally, let's talk about the conclusion. So ultimately, from my own experience of goalkeeping inside canoe polo, I think the simulator is quite realistic right now, and then it actually can train me a lot, because inside of the simulator, the ball and the shooting interval was very, very fast. Yeah. And also there's our future direction. So I hope that we can actually apply this onto real canoe polo training for goalkeepers, and then they can just train at home. There's no need to drive for an hour to go to the lake and then train with just a few teammates. That would be very disappointing for the goalkeepers. And then they can just happily train at home, and then we have a picture of a goalkeeper who's trying to actually simulate goalkeeping using the system, which is very interesting. And that's it. Thank you guys for listening.